guys, this is Hard Time Strongmen, and today we are going through our first land nav class.
Here we go.
Here we go. Land navigation maps number 1. FM
this
for
is
today.
Going to be the nitty gritty.
So FM for today is FM 3-25.26 land navigation.
What's a map?
A map is a graphical representation of a portion of the Earth's surface drawn to scale as seen from above. What does that mean, you ask? Because you always ask that.
Yes,
This means,
everyone asks that.
So a map is a picture drawn to scale. So if you were to take a snapshot of your area drawn to scale with references so that you can measure distance, size, everything as seen from above. So this is an incredible force multiplier. It's what people have been doing for generations, and it's absolutely necessary if you're going to be, wherever you're going to be operating. You're going to need a map of your operating area. A map uses colors, symbols, and labels to represent different features on the ground. A map provides information on the existence, location, and distance between ground features. So that's terrain features, buildings. When you get into like operating environments, different troop movements, all that stuff.
I mean, you watch a TV show, and how many times have you seen the main characters get into a situation where they're running from somebody, and then they're running through the woods, and then all of a sudden there's a cliff? Well, if they had a map and they actually used it, they would know that that cliff's there, so they wouldn't go that direction.
Or how many shows or movies have you seen where, like a command team is pouring over, this huge map that's spanning over, the entire table? You need this for the planning phase of any operation.
Oh, yeah. For the planning phase of building anything, like you're going to establish a community, you need to be able to read a map. You need to know where things are.
Security-wise, a map is considered a sensitive item.
Yep, that's
a
sign.
map. Yeah, so a map shows your location, your buddy's location. It could show caches, just the lay of the land as far as your environment goes. It is absolutely essential that you keep accountability of all of your maps at all times. If at any point you do not have accountability, or you may not have accountability of a map, you need to destroy it. Because if that falls into enemy hands, that is absolutely detrimental to you and all your buddies.
Back in World War II, it was one of the main reasons why we had so much success that we did in France on the invasion of Normandy. Once we started making inroads, we were finding maps, German maps, and we knew where their emplacements were. So That's exactly why you want to keep track of all your maps, because you do not want the locations of your emplacements, your camps, your caches, like you said. You do not want that falling into the wrong hands.
Exactly. So if at any point you do not have or will not have accountability of that map, you need to destroy it. And the standard for destroying a map is burning it and scattering the ashes.
Yep.
You do not want to leave any possibility of that map falling into anybody's hands that are not your own. And then just basic field care for a map. We recommend laminating any map you're going to be using in the field, just so you don't get water damage or the possibility of ripping or tearing or staining. If you don't have a laminating machine available, then an easy way to do that is by using packing tape.
Packing tape, you can use a quarterback sleeve. You can use a waterproof bag from an MRE.
Yeah.
It all works.
Mm-hmm. It should be easily accessible, and you should be able to, check on it to make sure that you have that accountability. That's part of your, kind of after action check on yourself, is making sure you have all of your sensitive items.
Yep. So let's go into the actual nitty gritty of these maps. So maps have what's called a scale. It's the ratio between the distance on a map and the corresponding distance on the surface of the Earth. So when you talk about things being to scale, that means they are the exact same size, or they are a ratio of the actual scale of the item being to scale.
Right. So when we talk about scale, we're talking about, like you said, in the form of a fraction. So the distance on the map divided by the ground distance. So the larger the number after 1, the smaller the scale of the map.
Yep. So we're talking, if it's small, you could be talking 1 to 1 million. It's a large area and very little detail. If we're talking small scale, it's 1 to a million. It's a very large area with very little detail. It could be the map of your state. It could be the map of the country. That's what we're talking small scale. It's used for general planning and strategic studies. So the overall area. Your medium scale is going to be larger than 1 to 1 million. But it's going to be smaller than 1 to 75,000.
So a standard medium scale map would be 1 to 250,000. So medium scale map, you're offering a moderate amount of detail, and we're using this for operational planning. So we've zoomed in a little bit from a small scale map, and this is where we're talking about troop movements, just different operational planning. Where do our guys need to go? Where is that supply going to come at? That sort of thing.
And then we get into large scale, so 1 to 75,000 or larger. So this is your standard large scale map is going to be about 1 to 50,000. It's used for tactical, administrative, and logistical planning. So troop movements, supply movements.
So this is the map that you're going to get more often than not as a team leader or a squad leader. This is, a lot more detail. This is something that you would keep in a quarterback sleeve or in your admin pouch, something that you can reference easily. This is for your junior leaders, essentially. These are for the guys that are actually boots on the ground that need to know, what is in their immediate area.
Right. So these maps can be probably about 1 of 5 types. There's planimetric, which is a line map. It only shows your horizontal position of the features represented. It's your standard map. You go to the store and you buy one.
So yeah, like you said, like a Walmart map, a county map, not a lot of detail, but it gives you an idea of the lay of the land. So application, if you were in a contested environment, you went to a Walmart and you want to know where the next town over is, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's your standard roadmap. The next type is my favorite. I love these maps. These are topographical maps. These actually portray the terrain features in a measurable way. So they have the contour lines along with the horizontal position of features represented on it.
Standard military map.
Yes, this will tell you, if you know how to read the map, this will tell you where your cliffs are, your cuts are, your hills, mountains, all that stuff. You'll be able to read this and understand the environment around you.
A photo map is a reproduction of an aerial photograph taken with information added. So, say you
Your
have
contour lines, your grid lines, your marginal data, elevation, all that stuff.
Right. And then a photo mosaic being an assembly of aerial photographs. So those don't have the added information, but it's a larger scale, ties in more aerial photographs. It's normally used when you don't have enough time or resources to produce a more accurate map. So application, you go out a day before and you take pictures with your drone. That would be more a photo map or photo mosaic map. Joint operations graphics. So those are based off of standard medium scale maps, but we add information to incorporate air ground operations. So elevation tinting, air landing facilities, obstacles for air traffic, that sort of thing.
More often than not, you won't use joint operations graphics, but unless you have an FO or JTAG.
But if you pick one up, then it's important to know what it is and what you're actually looking at.
Absolutely. What we encountered, aside from the topographical map the most in the military, was what was called a terrain model or a sand table. It's a scale model of terrain features, and literally you can look at it from different directions. You understand elevations, a slope.
This is for your team or your squad size element. These are for the guys
Yes.
that are actually going to be going into the operating environment. This is done before a raid, before a major operation like an ambush, things of that nature. So your guys literally go out, clear a section of the ground, and you build up for different terrain features, different buildings. You can have little army figures for actual team members or squads. You have little Hot Wheels for your vehicles. I mean, this is you're trying to pull in all that information for your guys so they can really conceptualize what's about to happen.
Yep. It's for the window lickers and the non-window lickers alike.
For pipe hitters, everybody. But caveat to that, when you're done with it, destroy it.
Yes. Oh gosh, yes.
That should go without saying. It's like any other sensitive item. It's just manifest. So that needs to be taken care of. And then specialty maps, these are normally developed as overprints, overlays on a normal map, and they give information that's not covered on a standard map. So different water drainage characteristics, the climate. It could be like a fire line, could show electrical power lines, fuel, surface or ground water resources, other natural resources to a given area.
Yep. Then we can get into substitutions for these standard maps. You could find foreign maps. These will have the same information, essentially, maybe just in a different metric.
Well, different scale as well.
Yeah, they'll have marginal information. Their map scales will be different. Their map symbols, they'll all likely differ from what you're used to. You could come upon an atlas. Those will be regional, continental, and world maps. They're accurate to a degree, but I would only use them for just general information, your general location. I wouldn't use it any other way. You can come across a tourist map. This is just a regional map. It'll mainly show you means of transportation, areas of interest. That can help.
Well, they can be useful because it gives you different information. So tourist maps can give you like secondary road systems. If a major road would be congested during touring hours, it could give you like estimated time distance if you're walking between. It'll have major tourist sites like museums or overlooks, that sort of thing.
Yeah, beaches. Yeah, it's going to give you good landmarks. That's not it's not a bad thing, but I wouldn't rely on that. It may provide you, like you said, the time distance between specific points.
Well, so use case, not for land navigation, it would be more of a reference, like you said.
Yeah,
just extra information you wouldn't normally have.
As geographic map flies.
Yeah. So a geographic map, that'd be more like your Forest Service map. So it could give you the climate, population, relief, vegetation, major, location of major urban areas.
Right.
You have your city or utility maps.
Those are super useful.
Yeah. So that's where you get into the actual schematics of like streets, water ducts, electricity or telephone lines, sewers. That can be huge for operational planning, depending on how and if you're able to use it.
Yeah, because if you're happen to operate in an urban area, like to be able to maneuver out of sight in sewers, it may suck, but it will conceal your movements. Because who's going to want to go down into a sewer to check for somebody?
Well, think about if you had to, say you had a heavily armed, enemy in a up armored building, being able to, figure out the schematics and see where you can, cut the power or, whatever else.
Yeah, could be incredibly useful. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then you have your sector sketches. These are just drawings of a specific area. Your unit SOP will dictate what information you put on there. We always put distances, landmarks out there so that we know how far, if somebody's hiding behind a sector of trees, we would know the distance to it and how much we would have to adjust our fire in order to accurately bring fire on them.
Yeah, so the main information that we had in our sector sketches were, different static objects, and then we would actually shade in behind the object where our line of sight ended, where we were not able to observe.
Yeah, so areas of defilade and cover.
So if you have 3 or 5 guys doing that for a specific area, you can get a really good picture of what's going on. But that's going to depend on the penmanship and art of your dudes. So aerial photographs, we're talking about aerial photographs that could be used as a map supplement. So it can support in analyzing terrain, route planning, guiding different movements. Think drones.
Yeah.
Think think drones. If you have a drone and you're able to use it, you can have a ready-made map that give you a snapshot of the area you're about to operate in instantly.
The downside of that
Huge.
is you're limited to what you can see.
Right.
So if there's a lot of tree cover, you don't know what's under that tree cover.
Right. And, depending on how skilled you are as a pilot, will dictate the risk management of, where you want to put that drone.
And the quality of camera on it, yeah.
But it's just another tool that you're able to utilize.
Yep. And of course, all these maps come down to the standards of the accuracy on them. So you just need to consider the fact that different sources for your map procurement will have different standards of accuracy. Clearly, nationality of the map producer, computer programs used, quality of the picture taken, additional information added. This all plays a factor in how accurate that map is.
Yes. So, you talked about foreign maps. You need to utilize the legend in those foreign maps because, adversaries or friendlies will have different symbols for, that represent different things. So, never take a map for granted. You need to go through that critical thinking of actually observing, that map to figure out what information you can use. But, a tourist map probably won't be to scale. An atlas won't be at the scale that you need. We want you to be able to use all these different tools, but you need to critically think about what you're using these tools for.
Right. Your map may not always be right.
Right. So that was our first class in Land Nav. That was Maps 1. The topic of maps and actually being able to utilize a map effectively is a huge subject. So we wanted to take in bite-sized pieces where we felt like we could cover the relevant information in an effective way.
Right. And, you're not going to be able to run right away on this. Like, we get that some of you probably have a little bit more skill than the rest, but we're trying to bring those who don't have the skill up to your level of skill. So bear with us. Some of this may be dry. Some of this may be boring. Others, you might find this awesome. I find this awesome. So thanks for sticking with us during this. We'll get into more detailed, more fun stuff. At least I'll find it fun. We're going to get into that later.
As always, guys, this was Hard Times, Strong Men. Thanks for joining us, and stay in the fight.
Bye, everybody.